Tonight is the national championship in college basketball, which unfortunately means that college basketball season is over. Very sad, but now that means we have NBA to look forward to, MLB if you're into that, college baseball, which I'm a very big fan of, and most importantly, it gives us 4.5 months to catch up on all the college football news and get ready for the 2025-2026 season in college football. And so while I get ready to make 100 college football videos in the next 3 months, I figured what better way to start that off is by telling you new coaches in college football, whether that be first-time head coaches, coaches we've known forever that have gone to a different school, or just coaches that have moved up from that school to be the head coach. And in no particular order whatsoever, let's talk about the most shocking coaching hire of this offseason. Bill Belichick is the new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Bill Belichick was hired by North Carolina on December 11th, 2024 to a 5-year, $50 million deal. He's regarded as the greatest NFL coach of all time, mostly due to his unimaginable run with the New England Patriots, winning 6 Super Bowls and going to 3 more. On January 11, 2024, Belichick and the Patriots agreed to part ways. He took the 2024-25 season off from coaching, but he still appeared in a lot of football shows like the Pat McAfee Show. He covered the 2024 NFL Draft as an analyst, and he joined the Manning Cast often. Belichick, at 72, will be the oldest coach in college football his first year. He also brings his son Steve Belichick to be the defensive coordinator, who most recently was the defensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, and his son Brian Belichick, who will be the defensive back and safety coach. So this will be Bill Belichick's first year as a coach at the college level, but he definitely isn't like a normal first-year head coach. While this isn't a new head coach, Gus Malzahn, the head coach of UCF from last year, joins Mike Norvell at Florida State to become the new offensive coordinator for the Seminoles. After a disappointing 4-8 season at UCF last year, Gus Malzahn is headed to Tallahassee. In 4 years at the University of Central Florida, Gus went 28-24, with the last 2 seasons ending in losing records. But last year was different. UCF had sneaky big expectations with KJ Jefferson, the Arkansas transfer at quarterback, and 2 really good running backs in RJ Harvey and Penny Boone, as well as a great wideout in Kobe Hudson. But Gus is a great offensive mind, and maybe he can turn things around at Florida State after a horrible 2-10 season last year. Speaking of UCF, they are replacing Gus Malzahn with Scott Frost. It's the same Scott Frost that pretty much put UCF on the map with their 13-0 national championship season in 2017. It's the same Scott Frost that never got it going at his alma mater, Nebraska, and led the Cornhuskers to the best 3-9 team ever assembled in 2021. Most recently, Frost has been an analyst with the LA Rams, and as wild as this was, I am so happy to have Scott Frost back in college football, and especially back at a place that really loves Scott Frost. Just like UCF, West Virginia has rehired an old face in Rich Rodriguez. Rodriguez was the Mountaineers coach from 2001 to 2007, which was one of the best stretches in West Virginia history, winning 10-plus games his final 3 seasons there. He has been the head coach for Jacksonville State the last 2 years, and has made that program very respectable since jumping up to the FBS level. It's awesome to see him back in Morgantown. Florida Atlantic fires Tom Herman after 2 rough years there and hires Zach Kittley from Texas Tech. Kittley is officially the youngest head football coach in college football at just 33 years old, and obviously this is his first head coaching job. He has coached high-level quarterbacks such as Patrick Mahomes when he was at Texas Tech during his first stint, and he moved on to Houston Christian where he was quarterback coach when Bailey Zapp was there. Then they both went to Western Kentucky where Kittley led a record-breaking offense where the Hilltoppers averaged 44 points a game. Florida International fired Mike McIntyre in early December and hired Willie Simmons to be the school's next head coach. Simmons was the running backs coach at Duke last season, but before that, he was the head coach of Florida A&M from 2018 to 2023 and led the Rattlers to 2 HBCU national championships. Willie Simmons coaching in Pitbull Stadium will be something to see. Former West Virginia and most recently Houston head coach Dana Holgorsen has officially accepted the full-time offensive coordinator position at Nebraska. He was an analyst at Nebraska this past year and promoted to OC late in 2024, and now he has accepted the full-time offer. He gets to coach second-year guy Dylan Raiola, one of the most touted freshman quarterbacks heading into the season last year. And after Nebraska's first bowl win since 2015, the Cornhuskers have some momentum. But first, if you love college football or basketball just as much as I do, please consider subscribing, as I'll have more and more content every week on the channel. Also, follow the TikTok. I post every day on there, and Twitter as well, trying to get more active over there. 2024 was a weird year for Fresno State, but it looks like they have their guy to get it back on track in Matt Entz. Jeff Tedford, who was going into his 6th season at the school last year, stepped down a month before the season due to health concerns, so Fresno State kind of just coasted through the year in limbo, even though they still made a bowl game. Matt Entz was most recently at USC as the assistant head coach and linebackers coach to a very much improved USC defense. Before that, he was the head coach of North Dakota State from 2019 to 2023, where he won 2 national championships. Matt Entz brings a winning mentality back to Fresno State. UMass has hired Joe Harasimiak to be their next head coach. Joe has been the defensive coordinator at Rutgers the last 3 seasons, and if you watched Rutgers at all during that span, you know they've always had a tough, gritty defense. Joe was previously a head coach at Maine, where he won the 2018 National FCS Coach of the Year. Even more changes for UMass. They move into the MAC this upcoming season after being an independent since making the step up to FBS. Joe Harasimiak is eyeing the first winning season of UMass at the FBS level, and it'll be exciting to see. Well, after what seemed like a culture-building year in New Mexico, Bronco Mendenhall is leaving that job and taking the Utah State head coaching job. Bronco is an exceptional offensive mind, and the Lobos led the Mountain West last year with almost 500 yards a game. This will be his 4th school in his almost 20-year coaching career, and I'm very fascinated by this pairing. After Charlotte's heartbreaking breakup with Biff Poggi as the school's head coach last year, they are now hiring Tim Albin, who is fresh off a MAC championship at Ohio last season. Albin was at Ohio for 4 seasons, and after a 3-9 first year, the Bobcats won 10-plus games the last 3 years he was there. This one was very surprising to me, but I think Albin will be great here after some time. After not renewing Charles Huff's contract after winning the Sun Belt last year, Marshall has hired Tony Gibson to be the school's new head coach. Let me repeat that. Charles Huff won the Sun Belt championship last year after winning the last 7 games of the season, and his contract did not get renewed, so the school is hiring Tony Gibson to be their new head coach. Tony Gibson is known as a genius mind on the defensive side of the ball, most recently the defensive coordinator at NC State. This will be Gibson's first head coaching job, and it's good to have him back in his home state of West Virginia. Purdue has hired Barry Odom to be the school's new head coach. Odom gets back in the Power Conference ranks for the first time since 2019. He has been with UNLV the past 2 years and has led them to back-to-back Mountain West championship game appearances. Purdue just fired Ryan Walters, who is pretty much the opposite of Barry Odom, after a 1-11 season in West Lafayette. Odom is known as a masterful offensive mind. After Ryan Walters was fired at Purdue, he goes back to his old position as a defensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies. He joins Jed Fish's staff in Seattle, and while his first head coaching stint did not go how he wanted, he is still an awesome defensive mind, and that's what got him the job in the first place. Speaking of UNLV and Barry Odom, their offensive coordinator the past 2 years, Brennan Marion, also known as creating the Go-Go offense, has accepted the position to be the head coach at Sacramento State. Marion won 2023 Coordinator of the Year in the Mountain West and should make Sacramento State a very fun watch. The school is also planning to be an independent this season at the FCS level and hopefully making the jump to the FBS level in 2026.
Just realized I left Dan Mullen off this list. Dan Mullen replaces Barry Odom at UNLV. One of the biggest hires of the offseason. Cannot believe I forgot it. I've been wanting Dan Mullen back in college football for so long, ever since Florida let go of him in 2021 after he did nothing but win there pretty much, but there were some other things in the background going on, so I understand why the two broke up. Heck of a hire for UNLV. Cannot wait to see how it goes. And yeah, super excited for it.
If you watched Oregon versus Idaho in week 1 last year, you probably remember how memeable Idaho's head coach was. Well, now he's the new head coach for New Mexico and has filled the position that Bronco Mendenhall left. The Lobos have hired Jason Eck to be the new school's head coach, and I love it. Eck has led Idaho to the FCS playoffs in all 3 seasons and was an assistant coach at South Dakota State for 6 seasons before that. I don't think many places can beat the Kibbe Dome as a home environment, but Albuquerque has to be up there as well. Plus, it's where Breaking Bad happened. After longtime head coach Dave Clawson stepped down from Wake Forest, the Deacons have found their guy in Jake Dickert to be their new head coach from Washington State. Dickert is a fun, young, and energetic guy. He has led very talented guys, especially at quarterback. Guys like Cam Ward, who will probably be the first quarterback taken in the draft this year, and new Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer. Dickert was dealt some tough hands at Washington State, but he definitely made the most of it. Washington State hires Jimmy Rogers from South Dakota State to replace Jake Dickert as the school's new head coach. Rogers led the Jackrabbits to a national championship in 2023, winning FCS Coach of the Year that season, and just recently led them to the national semifinals in 2024. Norfolk State has hired Michael Vick to be the school's new head coach. While Vick has no college coaching experience, he has set the standard on dual threat quarterbacks, and this is such a fun hire. Another thing with this, his team faces Delaware State this upcoming season, and you'll never guess it, Delaware State has just hired Deshaun Jackson to be the school's new head coach. November 1st will be must-watch television. Back in the ACC, Clemson has hired Tom Allen to be the school's new defensive coordinator. Allen just led a great Penn State defense to a national semifinal game. Tom Allen has over 3 decades of coaching experience, and he should be a huge help for Clemson's defense. To replace Tom Allen, Penn State has hired Jim Knowles from Ohio State to be their new defensive coordinator. See why we call this a coaching carousel? Jim Knowles just won a national championship with the Buckeyes, but he still made the decision to leave for Penn State. The Nittany Lions defense should not drop off one bit. Now, Ohio State had to fill their defensive coordinator role, and they did this by hiring Matt Patricia to be their new defensive coordinator from the NFL ranks. Patricia hasn't been in a college role since 2003 at Syracuse, but Ohio State has enough NFL guys on defense that it should be no issue for Matt Patricia. Staying with the defending national champions at Ohio State, they're also losing their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. Kelly is headed to Las Vegas to be the offensive coordinator of the Raiders and get back in the NFL after almost 10 years away from it. Ohio State is going to promote Brian Hartline to fill Kelly's position. Hartline was the offensive coordinator for the Buckeyes in 2023 and co-offensive coordinator last year, so not a huge change for the Buckeyes. Moving to the SEC, Kalen DeBoer got his guy back in Ryan Grubb to be Alabama's new offensive coordinator. Grubb was DeBoer's offensive coordinator at Washington when they went to the national championship, and also was with DeBoer at Fresno State. So these guys like each other a lot, and it should pay dividends for Alabama. Bowling Green hires Eddie George to be the school's new head coach. Eddie George was a longtime NFL running back, and of course won the Heisman with Ohio State in 1995. And to be honest, looks like he could still play running back for the Buckeyes. George has been the head coach of Tennessee State for the past 4 seasons and led them to the FCS playoffs in 2024. Eddie George is definitely a fun hire. Let's see if it pays off for Bowling Green. And most recently, Stanford fired Troy Taylor for allegedly mistreating staff members in the athletic department. This was Andrew Luck's first major move as general manager of the Cardinals. To replace him, Luck has hired Frank Reich on a 1-year deal. Reich was recently head coach of the Indianapolis Colts and the Carolina Panthers. This is expected to be a bridge year for the Stanford Cardinals, and they're supposed to go to a national coaching search at the end of next year's season. So those were all the notable coaching changes I could think of. If I missed any, please let me know in the comments. It is officially time to get ready for college football season, and these next 5 months are going to be so slow, but I still cannot wait to get back in the season. Appreciate y'all for watching.